I found out my sister was pretending to be me online and ruining my life. At first it was just little things. A job interview that never followed up, even though they had sounded enthusiastic when I last spoke to them. A friend who suddenly stopped returning my texts, their responses clipped and distant. Strangers online blocking me before I even had the chance to speak to them. I told myself I was overthinking it, that I was just being paranoid, that maybe I had misunderstood, maybe I had done something wrong without realizing it. But then, the messages started. Not to me, about me. I got an email from an old college acquaintance, someone I hadn't spoken to in years, their subject line blunt and accusatory. Wow, never thought you'd be this kind of person. I opened it, confusion twisting in my gut, only to find a screenshot attached. A long, vicious post, supposedly written by me, tearing into this person, insulting them in ways that felt almost personal, like someone had studied our past interactions, had carefully chosen words meant to cut the deepest, except I had never written it. I had never even seen it before. My pulse hammered as I scrolled down, reading their message. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but if you had a problem with me, you could have just said it to my face instead of spreading lies online. You always seemed better than that. I stared at the screen, my breath coming in short, uneven bursts. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a mistake. Someone was pretending to be me, and they were trying to destroy me from the shadows. At first, I thought it had to be some random hacker, some faceless stranger who had stolen my identity for reasons I couldn't begin to understand. Maybe it was a scam. Maybe it was someone with a personal grudge, maybe. But then, I found the account. Or rather, one of them. It wasn't just some fake profile using my name. It was an entire persona, built to mirror my life perfectly. Same profile picture as mine, same bio down to the specific wording I had once used. Posts that looked just like things I might say, sprinkled in with venomous lies designed to poison the people around me. And when I dug deeper, when I started really looking, I found more. There wasn't just one fake account pretending to be me. There were dozens, each one carefully crafted, some impersonating me directly, others acting as witnesses, spreading fabricated rumors, painting me as cruel, selfish, manipulative. I sat there, scrolling through the destruction, my stomach churning. This wasn't just random malice. This was deliberate, personal, and worst of all, whoever was behind this knew everything about me. The breaking point came 2 weeks later, when I lost my biggest work opportunity yet. A dream job, one I had worked years for, just vanished. One day, I was deep in the hiring process, practically guaranteed the position. The next, I got a cold, impersonal rejection email. No explanation, no warning, just a sudden, unexpected cutoff. It didn't make sense, so I did something I never would have done otherwise. I emailed back, not to beg, not to argue, just to ask why. And when I got a response, I nearly threw up. We appreciate your interest, but after receiving concerning messages about your past conduct, we've decided to go in a different direction. Best of luck. I reread it 5 times before it hit me. Someone had contacted them, had deliberately sabotaged me, had stolen my opportunities right out of my hands. And in that moment, I stopped feeling afraid. I stopped wondering. I stopped doubting myself. Because this wasn't some random stalker, some nameless troll hiding behind a screen. This was someone close, someone who had access to my personal life, my relationships, my career path. And there was only one person who fit that description. My sister, Emily, had always been good at pretending. She was the kind of person who could slip into any role, any personality, any emotion, and make it feel completely real. She was also the kind of person who had spent our entire lives resenting me. We weren't the kind of sisters who shared secrets, who had inside jokes, who whispered in the dark about our dreams and fears. We were competitors. From the moment we were old enough to understand what our parents valued, we had been pitted against each other. Who got better grades, who was more talented, who was more impressive, who would go further in life. And when I had started to succeed, really succeed, Emily had smiled, had said she was happy for me. But now I could see the truth, laid out in every carefully crafted lie, every poisoned relationship, every opportunity ripped away before I even had the chance to grasp it. She didn't just want to hurt. She wanted to be me. And if she couldn't, she would make sure I had nothing left to hold on to. I spent the next few days gathering proof, screenshots, account links, posts from her fake profiles that lined up perfectly with moments we had fought, with times I had succeeded, with points where she would have been at her most bitter. And when I had enough, when I knew there was no way she could talk her way out of this, I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her in private. I wasn't going to give her the chance to manipulate me, to twist my words, to turn this into another game she could win. No, if she wanted to destroy me publicly, then that's exactly where I would expose her. The family dinner was the perfect opportunity. A full house. Parents, relatives, friends. Everyone gathered together, unaware of the storm that was about to hit. I waited until the meal was almost over, until everyone was full, relaxed, off guard. Emily sat across from me, smiling like she hadn't spent the last few months tearing my life apart behind my back. Then, casually, I pulled out my phone, opened the files, and placed it on the table. Loud enough for everyone to hear, I said, "So, Emily, how long have you been pretending to be me?" The room went silent. Every head turned. Emily's smile didn't falter right away. She was good. Too good. She tilted her head, feigning confusion. "What are you talking about?" I slid the phone closer. "I have proof. Of all of it." Something flickered behind her eyes, something sharp, calculating. "Proof of what?" she said smoothly, already trying to regain control. I smiled. "You tell me." Her fingers curled against the table, and in that moment she knew. I wasn't playing along anymore. I wasn't waiting for her to come clean. I wasn't going to let her walk away from this. Because the truth? She hadn't just ruined my life. She had handed me the perfect opportunity to ruin hers. For a moment, Emily didn't move. She just sat there, her fingers tightening around her fork, her perfectly composed mask slipping for the briefest second. I could see it, the panic crawling up her throat, the realization that she had lost control of the situation. But then, like the seasoned manipulator she was, she forced a laugh, a small, calculated chuckle, as if the entire thing was some ridiculous joke. "I have no idea what you're talking about." She glanced around the table, flashing that practiced, innocent smile, the one she had used her entire life to get out of trouble, to make people believe her instead of me. But this time I wasn't letting her wiggle out of it. I leaned forward, my tone calm but sharp. "Then go ahead. Take a look." I tapped the phone, pushing it closer to her across the table. She hesitated, because she knew. If she reached for it, if she scrolled through the evidence, it would make her look guilty. But if she didn't, that was just as bad. She was trapped. Our parents shifted in their seats, my mother clearing her throat uncomfortably. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice edged with unease. "What is this about?" I didn't break eye contact with Emily. "You want to explain?" I said, my voice eerily steady. Or should I? She hated that. Hated that I wasn't playing the role she had written for me. The helpless, naive little sister who always second-guessed herself, who let her get away with everything. Her lips pressed into a thin line. "You're being dramatic," I smirked. "Am I?" And then, I turned the phone toward the rest of the family. "Because I have screenshots." The moment the first post loaded on the screen, the tension at the table shifted. My father, usually distant, leaned forward, squinting at the words flashing across the screen. My mother's brows furrowed as she read, her lips parting slightly. The posts were vicious, cruel, and worst of all, they sounded exactly like me. Fake me. The fabricated version of me that Emily had created. The one who had spent months, possibly years, ruining my reputation piece by piece. There were messages sent from me to former friends, cutting ties with them for no reason. Nasty comments made on social media pages under my name, posts mocking people I had once been close to. There were emails, supposedly from me, insulting co-workers, burning professional bridges I hadn't even known were on fire. My mother paled. She turned to Emily, her voice unsteady. "What is this?" Emily scoffed. "Obviously fake. Anyone can edit screenshots." I expected that. I had prepared for that. So I pulled up the real proof. A video. Because last night, after piecing together just how deep this went, I had done something I knew Emily never expected me to do. I had gone into her room, and I had gone through her laptop. I didn't want to, but I had no choice, because Emily was smart. She knew how to cover her tracks, how to delete things, how to make sure there was never a direct link back to her. But she wasn't perfect, and last night, I had found her logged into one of the fake accounts. I had hit record on my phone, capturing everything. Her username, her message drafts, even the way she had switched between accounts, as if she was so comfortable pretending to be me that it was second nature to her. And when I hit play, the entire room fell into silence. Emily's face drained of color as her own laptop screen flashed before her, as the video clearly showed her cursor hovering over messages she had written, pretending to be me. I let it play for a few seconds longer, just long enough for the undeniable weight of the truth to sink in. Then, I set my phone down, crossed my arms, and waited. Emily's breathing had gone shallow. Her fingers trembled as she clenched them into fists. I could see it, the way her mind was racing, scrambling for a way out. But there was no way out, not this time, because she had been caught, not in some vague, this could be a misunderstanding way. Caught red-handed, caught so completely that even she knew it was useless to deny it. So instead, she changed tactics. "I didn't mean to hurt you." The words came out in a rush, her voice shaking. Her eyes widened just enough to glisten, her shoulders slumping as if she had just been so weighed down by regret this whole time. I don't even know why I did it," she whispered, looking around at the family. "It started as a joke. I didn't think it would go this far." A joke. I felt something dark curl in my chest. "A joke?" I repeated, my voice dangerously low. "You ruined my friendships. You cost me jobs. You turned people against me. And you're telling me it was a joke?" Her eyes darted around, her breathing ragged. I just... But there was nothing she could say that would erase what she had done. She knew it. I knew it. And now, everyone at this table knew it too. My mother was the first to react. She exhaled sharply, pushing back her chair. I can't believe this," she muttered, shaking her head. "Emily, what were you thinking?" Emily flinched at the tone. Because if there was one thing Emily had never experienced in this family, it was being the disappointment. She had always been the one who got away with things, the one who could twist a situation in her favor, the one who was always forgiven no matter how many times she crossed the line. But now she had gone too far, and she knew it. She turned to me, one last attempt at salvaging something. "Please," she whispered. "I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking, I swear I stared at her for a long moment. And then, I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. She had spent months, maybe years, deliberately wrecking my life. And now, the moment she was faced with the consequences, she thought she could just cry her way out of it? No, not this time, not ever again. I pushed my chair back, standing slowly. "You're not sorry." She swallowed hard. I swear. "No," I said, my voice cold. "You're sorry you got caught." Her lips trembled. "Please don't do this." I tilted my head. "Do what?" She hesitated, terrified of what I was going to say next. And then, calmly, I delivered my final blow. "I'm pressing charges." A choked sound escaped her throat. You wouldn't." I smiled, but there was nothing kind in it. "Watch me." Her world was about to fall apart, just like she had tried to destroy mine, and this time, there was nothing she could do to stop it. The moment the words left my mouth, the entire table went still. Emily's face drained of color so fast I thought she might actually faint. My mother let out a sharp breath, like someone had just knocked the wind out of her, and my father, usually indifferent to family drama, set down his fork with slow, deliberate precision. "You're pressing charges?" Emily's voice cracked, her wide eyes brimming with panic. I didn't blink. "Yes." She shook her head, almost laughing, like she couldn't process what I had just said, like the idea of facing real consequences for her actions was too absurd to even entertain. You can't be serious." I tilted my head. "Can't I?" Emily turned to our parents, her last lifeline, her final attempt to shift the blame somewhere else. "Mom, Dad, say something," she pleaded, her voice rising. "She's not actually going to do this." But my mother didn't speak. She didn't rush to cover for her. She just sat there, stunned, horrified, maybe even ashamed, staring at her eldest daughter like she was seeing her for the first time. Because Emily had always been the perfect one, the golden child, the one who could do no wrong, the one they defended, excused, and protected. But even they couldn't protect her from this, because the proof was undeniable. And I was done playing the fool. I pushed my chair back and stood. "I'll send you the legal notice when it's ready," I said, my voice calm, controlled. Nothing like the shattered person she had spent years trying to turn me into. Emily surged to her feet, her chair screeching against the floor. "You can't just walk away," she snapped, her mask slipping. You're not actually going to ruin my life over this, are you?" I turned to her, slowly, deliberately. "You tried to ruin mine," I said, my tone quiet but lethal. "So tell me, Emily, why should I show you mercy when you never gave me any?" She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Because there was nothing she could say, not this time, not ever again. I left the dinner without looking back. As I stepped outside, the cold air bit at my skin, but I barely felt it. My heart was pounding, my hands trembling slightly from the adrenaline, from the finality of it all. I wasn't running in circles, chasing after an explanation, trying to understand why my sister had done this to me. I understood now. It didn't matter why she did it. What mattered was that she had. And now, she was going to pay for it. The next day, I met with my lawyer. He was a no-nonsense man, sharp-eyed and quick-witted, the kind of person who could take one look at a situation and immediately break it down into pieces he could destroy. "This is airtight," he said, after reviewing everything I had collected. "You have more than enough for a case. The impersonation alone is enough for criminal charges, not to mention the defamation, harassment, and damage to your career." I nodded, gripping my coffee cup tightly. "Good." He studied me for a moment, tapping his pen against the desk. "Are you sure you want to go through with this? Once we file, there's no taking it back." I thought about that, about the years of doubt, paranoia, and betrayal, about the lost friendships, the career opportunities stolen from me, the nights I spent staring at my phone, wondering why people were suddenly treating me like I was a monster. I thought about all the times Emily had stood beside me smiling, acting like my sister, while she was tearing my life apart behind my back. And then I looked my lawyer in the eye and said, "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." The legal notice was sent within 48 hours. Emily didn't respond. Not directly. But my parents did. The first message came from my mother. I ignored it. The second came from my father, short, cold, disapproving. I ignored that one too. Then the texts turned into calls. Voicemail after voicemail, each one carrying the same message in different variations. "This is family. You don't do this to family. Emily made a mistake, but she doesn't deserve this. You're being cruel, just let this go. Let it go." Like I was the problem. Like Emily hadn't spent years destroying everything I had built. Like I was supposed to just accept the pain and move on, because that's what they wanted. But I wasn't that person anymore, so I blocked their numbers, because this wasn't their choice to make. This was mine. 2 weeks passed before Emily finally cracked. She showed up at my apartment door at midnight, disheveled, pale, desperate. I didn't open it, but I let her talk through the door, let her spill out her pathetic justifications, her half-formed apologies, her pleas for me to reconsider. "I'll make it right," she swore. "I'll take everything down. I'll post a public apology. I'll tell everyone I lied. Just please don't let this go to court." I almost laughed, because of course, she wasn't sorry for what she had done. She was sorry she got caught. She was sorry that she couldn't talk her way out of a mess she created. But it was too late. Far, far too late. So I turned away from the door and said, "See you in court, Emily." And when her frantic knocking finally stopped, when I heard her broken sobs fade into the distance, I knew. This time, she wasn't coming back from this. And I wasn't going to save her, because she had made her choice, and now she was going to live with it. The day of the trial, Emily looked like a ghost of herself. She sat at the defense table, her shoulders hunched, her once carefully styled hair hanging in limp strands around her face. She had always been so put together, always prided herself on looking like she had everything under control. But now she just looked tired, broken, terrified, good. She had spent years carefully unraveling my life, and now she was finally facing the weight of what she had done. And I felt nothing for her. Not anger, not pity, not even satisfaction, just closure. The case was open and shut. The evidence was overwhelming. The judge barely needed time to deliberate. The impersonation alone carried serious legal consequences, but the defamation and harassment charges, those sealed her fate. When the verdict was read, guilty on all counts, Emily let out a sharp breath like someone had punched her in the gut. She didn't look at me. She didn't speak. She just sat there, trembling, as the weight of her destruction finally settled onto her own shoulders. After the trial, my parents tried one last time to change my mind. I wasn't surprised. They had spent their entire lives shielding Emily from consequences. Why would they stop now? But this time, they had no power over me. They met me outside the courthouse, my mother's face tight with barely contained rage and grief, my father's expression cold with disappointment. "You really went through with it," my mother whispered, as if she still couldn't believe I had done this. "You actually destroyed your own sister." I met her gaze without flinching. "No," I said, my voice calm. "She destroyed herself." My father exhaled sharply. "This was unnecessary. You could have handled this privately." I let out a small laugh, sharp, bitter, exhausted. "You mean I could have let her get away with it?" I corrected. "Like she always has." My mother's lips pressed into a thin line. "She's your family." And there it was, the last desperate attempt to manipulate me, to drag me back into the toxic cycle, to make me believe that family meant more than justice. I shook my head slowly. No, she was my sister, but sisters don't do what she did, and parents don't let it happen. Something flickered in my mother's eyes, guilt, maybe, regret, but she didn't say it. She never would, and that's why I was done with them too. Without another word, I turned and walked away. And this time, I didn't look back. Emily was sentenced to 2 years of probation, mandatory community service, and a permanent restraining order preventing her from contacting me ever again. Not jail, not some grand punishment, just long enough, painful enough, to ensure that she would never try something like this again. Her name was ruined. Her job prospects disappeared overnight. Her friends, they saw her for who she really was. And me? I moved on. I rebuilt the relationships she had tried to break, repaired my career, and started living again without the shadow of her sabotage hanging over me.